Indeed. Indeed. A take straight from the heart. Okay,
That
but
was a
anyway,
good take right there.
I
That was
appreciate it.
a good
I've
take
been
right there.
doing my homework, man. I've been cooking up this week, man. I've been in my bag. Okay, I'm glad that the Bills won that game. Excuse me, the Chiefs won that game, man. It allowed me to go back into the lab. Okay, and here we are, and we are going to move away from the NFL for a bit. We're going to make a stop in the NBA. And it's going down in the NBA, man. We got some news coming out of Sacramento, and I am not sentimental here. Okay, the Kings reportedly are open to a De'Aaron Fox trade before the deadline, and the question is, what is the best trade destination for De'Aaron Fox? And Cuzzo, I would like to begin here
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
give my team. And before I do, man, I can see, why teams could be intrigued with the idea of bringing in De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's a high-end sidekick. He's been averaging 25 points per game over the last 3 seasons. He's close to unstoppable in the paint, capable of taking over a game in the fourth quarter, and is obviously one of the most clutchest players in the league. And I don't see a ton of difference. And Cuzzo, after I'm done, you could respond to this. I don't see a ton of difference between him and a guy like Jamal Murray. I don't see a ton of difference there. I see similarities there. But you can respond to that after I'm done. The best trade destination for De'Aaron Fox is going to be the San Antonio Spurs for me. I look at Victor Wembanyama and I see a guy that's ready to take a significant leap. But he needs a capable sidekick next to him in order for him to take that leap. A point guard that can shoulder some of the scoring burden off of him and open things up for him. Obviously, surrounding, you know, uh, him obviously with a scorer, you still got the combination of rookie Stephen Castle. You still got a capable shooter in Devin Vassell. Fox's timeline, he's not 30 years old. So I think he fits that Spurs timeline. And I think it's a move that could be made. Victor Wembanyama is a star. He's on his way to becoming a superstar in the future, I assume. And I think he could be a attractive trade piece for a lot of these players. You see all the time guys request a trade, and it's the same three franchises: Phoenix, Miami, the Lakers. But I think when you have a guy with the star power of a Victor Wembanyama, that he could be a chip that could be used to attract a guy like De'Aaron Fox to want to come over there, which he does want to go over there, listed as his preferred destination. So I'm going to go with the Spurs.
Listen, it's the logical choice. To me, it's the right choice. But before I agree with that choice, because I definitely agree with you with San Antonio, I got to go to Sacramento real quick. Right, you got De'Aaron Fox. They fired their coach, Mike Brown, right, earlier this year. It's like, what are they trying to accomplish? Because see, when you firing a coach and you getting rid of your best players, what is your reset? What are you doing? What is your game plan? Because this is a franchise that has been relevant one time since I've been watching basketball. They've been relevant one time, and that was the early 2000s, going to the Western Conference Finals versus the Lakers, going against Kobe and Shaq. One time they've been relevant. This is a horrible ran franchise. You get talent in there year in and year out, and you don't even know what to do with them. You get good coaching in there year in, and you don't know what to do with them. This is an embarrassment, in my personal opinion. This is an embarrassment. But as far as De'Aaron Fox, yes, San Antonio's perfect for him. Because I want to say De'Aaron Fox is definitely under the age of 30. So let's say, what is he, 28? Somewhere in that area. Wemby is definitely a young man. He's only like 19, 20 years old. They can definitely grow together. And Wemby is not ready to take over games. Yes, he can handle the ball, but he's not ready to be the player to make the play. And making the play don't always mean scoring. So Wemby can be part of that winning culture, because you need somebody to hold that ball, just to give him the ball in the right spot so he can take over the game. And De'Aaron Fox is more than just a threat. Like you said, he's clutch. He's speed. He can lay. He's lefty. I think he's left-handed. He's lefty. He got the left hand. He can shoot. He's great. I like him as a player. I thought Sacramento was trying to build something there. I think it was 2 years ago when they played Golden State in the playoffs, and they went to like a game 7. I was like, okay, Sacramento might be getting some momentum. And then it blows up again in our face. like, who's running this franchise? Who gets these jobs? Who's the GM over there that got the luxury to just keep hitting the reset button? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a bad that's where the sour taste in my mouth that you fire the coach and then you want to get rid of your best player within a month apart from each other. That's just a
After
horrible
doing
franchise,
something that this franchise haven't done in my lifetime.
right? Like, what is that?
Right on.
I don't, because I don't know, man. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, man, when I see stuff like this. Because De'Aaron Fox was over there, and he was young. I want to say he was like 21 years old when he was there. You just wasted 7 years of this dude's career. Why draft him? Why draft this guy? He just wasted his career. He could have been with somebody else making playoffs, and we could have been saying how great he is. We don't wasted this dude. He's in a promised career. Clearly, get him out of there now, hopefully, and he could probably team up with Wemby, and maybe they can make a couple of playoff runs 2-3 years from now. You know what I mean? Because it's just horrible, man. It's like gravesite over there, man. What are you doing?
And a lot of people think that and I said this before too, but thinking about it, and that's why I made the Jamal Murray comparison. A lot of people think that Victor Wembanyama, you want him to be the vocal point of your offense, which I can concur with. And a lot of people think that because De'Aaron Fox is more ball dominant as a guard, that would take away some of those opportunities. But look at Jamal Murray with Jokic. You know, the offense still runs through Jokic, and Jamal Murray, who's ball dominant, could still be able to take over the game and score when he's needed to. And I think he's been a good beneficiary partner to a guy like Jokic. And I think likewise with Jokic, when you're playing with the best player in the world, obviously things are going to be easier for you as well. So I think that could be the same thing here with Victor Wembanyama and Fox.
De'Aaron Fox need a big man.
Right? Not to the extent of winning, okay, on that type of level. Let me make that clear. I'm talking about on the court style.
Yeah, he needs a big man. But it's just, most of our big men in this league, they hurt a lot. I'm talking about Anthony Davis is always hurt, and not as much as hurt as Joel Embiid, but like these big men that we got in this league, super talented, they just be hurt a lot to me. And if I was De'Aaron Fox, I wouldn't want to go near none of them.
No, I agree. Cuzzo, what team you gonna go with?
What team? What team I'm gonna go with?
What team do you think is the best trade destination for De'Aaron Fox?
I'm going with San Antonio.
Oh, you're going with San Antonio as well?
It's to me, it's the obvious choice. If he goes to San Antonio, they can have success right away. It's like you said, the combination is really, really good. That's why I said I agree with you right away. I just wanted to talk about Sacramento real quick, but no, I agree with you 100%. Like, to me, send him over there right away. Wemby can really learn, because you got CP3 over there. CP3 is 40 years old, bro. Get him out of there. You know what I mean? Get a young man in there where they can grow and build some continuity together. And next thing you know, 2, maybe 3 years from now, they could be going for a real deep run. I actually can see that for them. He'll be about 30 years old. Wemby will be about 22, 23 years old, coming into his own. They could be a dynamic duel. And I mean dynamic. Okay? And you be having to pick your poison between the one of the two, because De'Aaron Fox is clutch. And maybe Wemby will be clutch too. And they could be really a two unstoppable force. And because De'Aaron Fox don't play defense all that great, but when you got Wemby behind you, you could push up on the jump shot. And if you give your man blow by you, you might get a block over there. So they could really help each other out. And I really think it could really go well for San Antonio to put San Antonio back on the map.
Yeah, the thing that I want to discuss a little bit further is I think the Kings are in a rock and a hard place, because they are 11-4, I believe. And that could have changed last night. I'm not sure if they played last night. But I believe they was 11-4 since Doug Christie replaced Mike Brown at the head coach. And they could be thinking in their minds that they could have a win now player rather than picks. But the problem with that theory and ideology is that you're going to be trading the best player in the deal. So a step back is inevitable. So I think if they're going to trade De'Aaron Fox, then it makes sense to blow the whole operation up and prioritize a full rebuild, because you're not going to get a better player than Fox. You may be lucky to get an equal player to Fox, which I think that's highly unlikely as well. So if I'm the Kings and I am doing a deal with the Spurs, for an example, that's a team that we both pick. I believe the Spurs have a 2025 and a 2027 first rounder. So I'll be trading for those picks, obviously, for a start. And then we could get to the logistics of how a full package would look like. But yeah, I think the Kings should be prioritizing a full rebuild if indeed they're going to trade Fox, then you should be looking to trade DeMar DeRozan. I believe he has one more year left on the deal, so they should be looking to move off of that as well. You still got Sabonis over there as well, so I'm not sure if you agree with that.
Sabonis too, absolutely. Listen, again, you know, you want to blow up the team, that's fine. Blow the team up, that's fine. As far as De'Aaron Fox is concerned, like, you just wasted 5 years of this man's career. I mean, don't draft these great players coming out of college with all this potential, and you as a GM ain't qualified to put a team around that talent. How the heck I'm a scout a talent coming out of college? I like this guy. He's a talented guy. And you don't have a 5-year plan or a 3-year plan to put the right pieces around his skill set. Don't draft him. If I can't put the right pieces around this man, I'm not drafting this man. I'm gonna have to get a person I can draft, I could build around. How you draft this guy right here and then you don't build around him, and then you don't put the right pieces around him? Like, that's just a waste. And other franchises would have been utilized him. That just shows you the quality of GMing that they have over there in Sacramento. Because if De'Aaron Fox was drafted to another team at the age of 21, he might been in the playoffs already, making ill moves and all of this, and being noted for, oh, he can win MVP of the league. Who knows? Instead, he went to Sacramento, and it's a graveyard. We don't know nothing about this cat.
Yeah, I think a lot of NBA franchises, when you look at them and their moves, there's a reason why we get the same teams that compete for a championship. There's no coincidence there. These guys don't know how to build teams. I mean, you look at the Trailblazers, you could make the same argument that they wasted Dame's career.
Absolutely.
Obviously. And you know, you could say the same thing about a lot of guys. Cuzzo, what do you think about Miami in a potential trade to Miami for the Kings, obviously with De'Aaron Fox? How do you like that fit?
Well, the only reason why I would say that it could be a fit, but not necessarily a fit for like right now, today, per se, I would trust the Miami Heat organization to get the necessary pieces around De'Aaron Fox, and they could probably build with him and put him in position to be successful in the playoffs and maybe even compete for a title. That organization would know what to do with that type of talent. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't necessarily means that it's going to work out this year, right, with the current roster, the roster they got currently, but it might work in the future for De'Aaron Fox, trusting the leadership over there. I could see something like that.
Yeah, because obviously Miami could be another option there. I think De'Aaron Fox will take a lot of the scoring responsibilities off the shoulders of Tyler Hero, whom I think Miami would prefer to play at the 2 as opposed to the 1. So I think you combine that, obviously, what he could bring scoring, and you got Bam Adebayo, still a talented big in the NBA, and you have
fair.
a winning culture and organization in Miami with a track record of success. Then I think that could be an alternative trade that could be made. But I
like
agree
that one.
that the Spurs should be at the top of the list.
Okay. No, I agree with that. I got one for you then. What do you think? I know this is going to seem very out there, and they've been doing well lately, but it's going to be very out there. What do you think about Milwaukee and just get Dame out of there, put in De'Aaron Fox?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the Bucks situation, what they need is another scorer to go along with Dame and Giannis, right? They don't have a lot of scoring outside of those two players. So I think if you're trying to make a trade, if you're Milwaukee, you're probably looking at Bradley Beal, a guy that can be capable of giving you some scoring boosts offensively to help you out, because that's where the majority of the issues is like outside of Dame and Giannis, who else do you got that can score the basketball?
Right, or DeRozan.
Yeah, potentially. You know, but DeRozan is a ball stopper. That'd be the only thing. I think Bradley Beal, if I'm Milwaukee, would probably be my number one option, and that obviously is tied into the Jimmy Butler trade potentially that could be happening. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the trade deadline is going to be Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm pretty sure we are going to probably we might have a Friday show. We might have a Friday show next week, now that I think about it, because we might be able to have some biggest winners and losers of the deadline. So we'll see what happens next week. Because any last words on this topic, or are we moving on?
No, we ready.
We're going to move on here, and we are going to end off this show. Before we get to the take for 99, we have one more topic that we want to discuss. And Cuzzo, I know you've been keeping track in regards to the hiring coaching cycle. and a lot of moves, a lot of transactions going on. And the question that we have right now is, let's just give some biggest winners and losers of the coaching cycle. And Cuzzo, I'll let you begin with your number one. We can start off with the winner.
Well, I'm gonna go with Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams won. And I told you when we did this topic a couple of weeks back about the coaches going around, I wanted to see Caleb Williams come with an offensive coordinator. I want to see him in bed with an offensive coordinator for the next 3 years. And the fact that you got Ben Johnson, the fact that he's an offensive guy, the fact that he could probably be in bed with you for the next 3 years, whether that leads to a championship or not, that's going to help get Caleb Williams sustained high-level play in the NFL. And I like that for him. So I think forget about Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams just won. And that, to me, biggest win out of all of these coaches carousel, because clearly he got the talent. Clearly, Jalen Daniels is making him look crazy right now, right? Not to be funny, like, should you be number one, right? Jalen Daniels look like he should be the number one pick. But no, I think Caleb Williams just won. And then if you want to say the Bears won because of that, yeah. I think the offense will be legit. I think Caleb Williams will learn and be able to grow with an offensive mind for the next 3 years, because that's what it's really about. You can't be drafting these quarterbacks and bringing in an offensive coordinator every year, man. You can't be having an offensive coordinator carousel right now. Oh, learn another playbook. He's going to be able to get in tune with Ben Johnson's philosophy, okay, and apply that to the field. And it might not show up in year one, but year 2 and 3, he might look sensational. So I think that's a big win for him.
Yeah. Cuzzo, before I respond to that, I'm going to sign off on TikTok right now. So those of y'all watching right now on TikTok, make sure you follow me here on TikTok. And if you want to watch the rest of the program, make sure you follow us on YouTube and subscribe. Real Leel TV without the underscores. I'm going to sign off on TikTok right now. Peace out, TikTok. All right. And Cuzzo, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to pick up where you left off. Obviously, I'm going to give another winner because I don't want us to have the same winner, but I'm going to pick up where you left off. I think that, even though Ben Johnson was not my number one choice for the Bears job, I would have went Pete Carroll, primarily because he's a culture builder. But looking at it, his inability, Pete Carroll here, to adapt to offensive and defensive innovation probably could have held the Bears back. So I think they went the modernized route, and I'm not mad at that at all. It's not 1999 anymore, clearly. And I think Ben Johnson has an opportunity to, work with Caleb. And think about it like this. He was very creative with a quarterback that wasn't mobile in Jared Goff. Imagine what he can do with a mobile quarterback in Caleb Williams. I think he could just be 10 times more creative than he already was. Yep. And it shows to me, Caleb, and why he's the winner here individually. It shows to me that clearly Ryan Poles, the GM and the organization, clearly values his opinion, because that's the guy that he wanted. So clearly they value him. And obviously, when you talk about what could be the issue with the Bears right now, their offensive line, well, guess what? Nobody knows the importance of having a good offensive line other than Ben Johnson, who coached the best offensive line in football. So clearly that's going to be a priority, which is building that offensive line. So I think Caleb Williams is the winner for sure.
Definitely.
But I'm going to go with my next winner here. Since you pick Caleb Williams, I'm going to go with Liam Cohen. Okay, the head coach of the Jaguars. And I need to play that clip, man. That clip that I watch about 500 times already. Can we get that clip? Yes, sir.
Duval.
I watched that about 500 times. Now, I mean, it's going to go down in history. This guy got zero aura, but guess what? Can he coach? That's the main question. And look, I think he's the winner because he gets to go to a low profile market, almost like a collegiate college style market. And he has an attractive team to coach. I think you look at a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. He may not be generational. He may not be sensational, but he could obviously quarterback. You have a talented back in Tank Bigsby. You have a talented wide receiver in Brian Thomas. And GM Trent Baalke, who scared Ben Johnson off, benefited Cohen because Shah Khan realized that Trent Baalke was getting in the way of potentially hiring that coach. So he got fired. So now he gets to come to an attractive job And you compare this job to the job we just talked about, the Bears are high profile. That's going to come with a lot more scrutiny in a tougher division. You take the Jaguars job in a low profile, not as rugged as the Chicago market, and it's in an easier division, a more manageable division in football. I think you got to call him the winner, especially when what he did to the Buccaneers when he agreed to come back to be the coordinator, and then obviously flipping back over to get that Jaguars job. I think he's a winner.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad you brought that part up. Buccaneers, the Buccaneers at one point before the injuries, offense was lights out, bro. They was putting points and points by the dozen, quick. Yeah, I think he can go to Jacksonville. And I don't remember, was Jacksonville in the playoffs like 2 years ago? So this is not necessarily a horrible team. Like you said, Trevor Lawrence not like a horrible quarterback. He ain't, like you said, generational talent, change. He ain't Josh Allen, not like that. But he is a solid quarterback. He is a starting quarterback. And he's a quarterback that you could probably win with. He's on the level of a Jared Goff, right? If you put the players around him and y'all start winning, he can make some plays.
You got more talent than Jared Goff for sure.
Clear. So, yeah, I like that one. I definitely like that one.
And let's go to the losers real quickly, because I got a loser that I want to begin with. Yeah, and I'm gonna combine the two. I'm gonna go with the Rooney Rule and Detroit. Now, let me start off with the Rooney Rule here.
Hit me with it.
Because I think the Patriots, to me, they have the best overall hire in Mike Vrabel. To me. Okay. Right? They won the hire in sweepstakes, right? But it's bigger than that. Unfortunately, I hated the route that they took to get to that destination. I hate what they did to Gerard Mayo. He was never going to win a lot of games with New England this year. Kraft knew that. Everybody knew that. He knew that. And yet he still fired him, obviously, because he wanted Mike Vrabel. But that process of hiring Vrabel, they exposed the Rooney Rule a lot by interviewing some of the weakest black candidates that you could find. And Byron Leftwich, who clearly was out of a job for about 2 to 3 years. Pep Hamilton. I mean, just to fulfill a quota. I mean, these guys clearly was not interviewed anywhere else. So we know they wasn't going to get the job. We knew all along they was going to hire Mike Vrabel. But because the league got these organizations scrambling to hire minority coaches or interview, not hire, but interview minority coaches, these guys are going to do that. And I think the Jaguars' pursuit of Liam Cohen allowed them to fulfill that quota by interviewing Robert Saleh, because they thought that they was out of the Cohen sweepstakes when he returned to the Buccaneers verbally for a few days. Now, we all know that when it comes to the Rooney Rule, right? You take a guy like Mike Tomlin, right? I think he benefited from the Rooney Rule, not because he got the job because of the Rooney Rule. He didn't, obviously. He got the job because he was qualified for the job, but it's because the mainstream media fails to criticize him for the lack of playoff success because he's an African-American who survived the era of the Rooney Rule and the lack of minority coaches at that time, right? Look, I'm not a big fan of DEI. I never benefited from DEI in my personal career aspirations, right? And I'd rather take my chances of landing a job that I'm qualified for based off my resume, okay? Not because of my color. I take my chances with the resume that I have, okay? And the experience that I have, right? Aaron Glenn, he got the Jets job not because he was African-American, but because he was qualified for the job. He played for the organization. He was definitely good in his stop in Detroit. He got the job because of that, just like how D'Amico Ryans in a similar situation got the job for the Texans, okay? So the Rooney Rule accomplishes nothing. It wastes people time, and teams know who they want to hire, and they're going to hire who they want to hire. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'll get to Detroit in my next lap. I'll let you respond to that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think you're right. The Rooney Rule, the loopholes is glaring. And it's making a fool of the Rooney Rule. And it's almost puppet master with, like you said, a lot of unqualified head coaches. Brian Leftwich, like you said, his hot streak was 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? That's when you was hot. Maybe he would have got hired, but now, no, you're not getting hired.
And he did get a job offer. That's the funny part about it. He turned it down. It was Jacksonville who offered him the job. He didn't want to work with Trent Baalke. He denied the job and haven't got a job since. Been unemployed.
Right. Been unemployed. And like you said, as far as Aaron Glenn definitely qualified. And you was definitely going to hire him, the Jets, or whoever was going to hire him. Great defensive coordinator, and he was ready to roll. Actually, he got drafted by the Jets, so I thought he was guaranteed. It was like a match made in heaven for them. Yeah, man. But the Rooney Rule is definitely shaky. Are you ready for me to give you my big loser, or you want to go to
Yeah,
Detroit?
you go with your loser, and then I go with my last one.
All right, let me give you my biggest loser, man. My biggest loser. It was a flip. It was a coin toss. But the Dallas Cowboys. Like, when you think about what's going on in the NFC East, the fact that we just had an NFC East championship from the NFC East, Washington versus Philly, that means you got a lot of catching up to do, Dallas Cowboys, America's team. And because of Jerry Jones, you can't even get a real coach. Because of Jerry Jones, no real coach in their right mind is going to want to come there and coach your team. Okay? So you have to get backdoor coaches, people that got left out to dry, or you know what I mean? Some fadeaway dude. Oh, you last on the interview line, yeah, come through. And now you couldn't even get those. And you hired your offensive coordinator from inside. Really? That might as well be Mike McCarthy. You must have kept him in there. What are we really talking about? This is a huge L. This is a big L. Okay? This is a disgrace to the Dallas Cowboys, and the reason why they, instead of the Giants being in last place, Dallas might be in the last place. This is an organization that can't get out of his own way. This is an owner that just can't get out of his own way, and he's so terrified of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. He's trying to make a splash, and he couldn't do it. The simple fact that he had made that hire on a Friday afternoon, he tried to hide that thing. He tried to throw it under the rug. You know what I mean? Most of the mainstream media is Monday through Friday. So he waited to Friday afternoon and threw it under the rug like, yo, we just hired this dude. So nobody will talk about it all weekend. We think we're going to figure about it on Monday. Like, that's how bad that hire was. To the point, he understands that, or rather the Dallas understand, maybe he don't understand. Dallas understands this was a bad hire. So from a PR perspective, just throw it out there Friday afternoon, and hopefully everybody stop talking about it, because we're going to be a disaster next year. No disrespect to the Dallas Cowboys, who got a lot of glaring holes, had a lot of big-time injuries, but they're also going to be out-coached every time they get on the football field, okay? And we know, no disrespect to Mike McCarthy, although he's a solid coach, a Super Bowl winning coach, when it comes down to real decision-making, he can't really make them with Jerry Jones lingering over him anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like a horrible situation that it's Dallas going bad, just got worse. It just is just what happened. So at the end of the day, as the NFC East is shining, and we got a bright future in the NFC East, Eagles got one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Washington got probably the best quarterback in the conference with a whole bunch of cap space, 8 draft picks. They ain't going nowhere. Philly and Washington going to be battling for a minute, and they won't be looking at Dallas. And that's why they took the big L. And I mean the big L.
Yeah, definitely. They had the worst hire of the cycle. And I'm not surprised. Jerry Jones, he likes to dominate the headlines. He wants to control. He wants to hire a puppet. And Brian Schottenheimer is no Oppenheimer. Okay, he's not going to reinvent the wheel. Okay, he's going to be a puppet, and that's what it's going to be. And it's unfortunate for the Cowboys. Like I said, I thought that they could have went, solid hires that maybe it's not like a Pete Carroll or Belichick hire, but they could have went Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, coach on the team. I thought he was qualified. Even right. Kellen Moore would have been better. Even Deion Sanders would have been better.
Absolutely.
But they went the worst route, and I'm not surprised. The Cowboys know what they want. Jerry Jones know what he wants, and he hired what he wanted. So you just got to accept it for what it is and not what it isn't. And I'm going to go with my loser here. I'm going to go with Detroit. And look, man, they lost both of their coordinators, man. They had an all-star coaching staff, and they didn't get to win a championship with that staff, and now they got to replace that staff. And no team has won a Super Bowl, to my estimation, the following year after losing both of their coordinators. So they up against history going into next season. And look, last year we saw what Aaron Glenn could do. I mean, look at all the injuries that the secondary, this line on defense sustained throughout the whole year, and yet he was still able to dial up a scheme that could get the best out of the personnel that he did have playing. And they lost that guy to the Jets, and they lost the best offensive coordinator, in my opinion, in Ben Johnson, and it's going to be hard to replace that. You can't replace that, but can you replace that, if you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with them going forward. They still got a lot of experience over there, and maybe that experience could help them and carry them. But for a team that relies on culture building, right. We know Dan Campbell's a culture guy. He doesn't call plays on either side of the ball. That's what the coordinators are for. And you lost 2 good damn coordinators, and that's why to me they are the loser.
Yeah, listen, that was my coin flip, right? Detroit. First of all, you lost Ben Johnson, like you said, great offensive mind to somebody in your division. Okay, so you got to start right there first. This is somebody that's going to be in your division. You lost him to that. Problematic right off the rip, because he knows you,
The
he
defense.
knows the
Yeah.
personnel. And when somebody knows the personnel, he can scheme against the personnel. He can go into his defensive coordinator meetings. Yo, listen, they substitute to this, and they don't like this, or Jared Goff's got tendencies to do that, or whatever the situation may be. It ain't going to hurt. Let's put it that way. But I know about this, as the Eagles went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and lost both for their coordinators. And look how that turned out. And as we watched them, train wreck at the end of that season last year, losing 5 out of the last 6 games, and the culture inside the locker room was being shredded apart. And clearly, I screamed it out multiple times. We lost both our coordinators. Nobody really wanted to hear about that. You just lost. You had that talent. You went to the Super Bowl. Why ain't y'all winning? And like you said, cousin, nobody goes back to the Super Bowl after losing both coordinators. That's a terrible, tough thing to deal with. And as we speak, Detroit right now is looking for somebody to replace those guys. They can't even move forward with what type of scheme they're going to be running until they hire the people that's going to be necessary to go in there to coach the defense and offense. So they kind of behind schedule, if you know what I mean. Everybody that already got eliminated from the playoffs is already thinking about next year and already scheming for next year while they still in the hiring process for next year.
Yeah, and I do believe they hired their offensive coordinator. I'm not sure if they hired their defensive coordinator, but yeah, I mean the Eagles could change that history this year as far as losing the coordinators. But let's be clear, for context, they upgraded. With Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, right? There's a difference when you upgrade as opposed to losing, good coordinators, which clearly Detroit, I'm pretty sure they're not going to hire anybody that's better than Glenn on the defense. I'm pretty sure that they hired is not going to be better than Ben Johnson. So I believe that there. Those are the biggest winners and losers. And Cuzzo, I'm ready.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.